As the new season starts and the summer signings begin to settle down, fans may begin to wonder, what if we'd signed that bloke we were linked with? Well, here is one target each Premier League club will regret not signing this summer. Arsenal, Thomas Meunier. The Gunners had a great summer, but the only position that didn't really strengthen was right back. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is currently playing out there while Hector Bellerin recovers from injury, but Emery could really have signed someone top quality to boost his top 4 chances. Thomas Meunier from PSG was linked, and he'd have had a real international experience in the absence of Stefan Lichtsteiner, who left in the summer. Aston Villa, Tammy Abraham. He was Villa's hero last season, and now he's Chelsea's number 9. Villa did well in the transfer market this summer, but they look a bit short up top. Back in May there were reports that Villa would try and sign Abraham permanently if they won promotion, but now Frank Lampard is the Chelsea boss, youth is the key, meaning Abraham now has a role to play at Stamford Bridge, much to the dismay of Dean Smith and Aston Villa. Bournemouth, Jack Butland. The goalkeeping saga is well documented at Dean Court, and Bournemouth did reportedly make efforts to rectify it this summer, being linked with a move for Stoke stopper Jack Butland, who's gone from the next big thing to Championship mid-table. So could Bournemouth have been the best place for him to rebuild his career? And will Bournemouth regret not signing a keeper of his calibre? We certainly think so. Brighton, Jayden Bogle. It looks like Brighton have done some good business this summer, but young right back Jayden Bogle would have capped it off perfectly. With Graham Potter's new system at the Amex, Bogle would have been the ideal competition for Montoya down the right flank, having linked with a £10 million move from Derby. But alas, Bogle stayed in the Championship and Montoya remains unchallenged as right wing back. Burnley, Gary Cahill. Finding Burnley targets is tough, but one man they did want to sign is free agent Gary Cahill. Instead, the defender signed a deal with Crystal Palace, and it's a deal that Burnley should look at with envious eyes. Cahill would have added much needed depth to Sean Dyche's back line, and he would have been the ideal deputy for James Tarkowski should the England international be linked with another move away in January. Chelsea, they couldn't sign anyone, so let's move on. Crystal Palace, Fyodor Chalov. The Eagles need extra firepower, which is why they wanted Russian forward Chalov. The youngster averaged a goal every other game last season for CSKA in Moscow, and he started this season brightly too. As for Palace, they're still relying on Christian Benteke, which is not a good thing. Their attack looked toothless against Sheffield United, something Chalov could have changed. Everton, Wilfried Zaha. Everton were linked with a record-breaking move for Wilfried Zaha, but they ended the summer with Alex Iwobi instead. Zaha was desperate to leave Crystal Palace, and he could have taken Everton to the next level with his arrival. But instead, Everton have had to look elsewhere, and the pressure is on Iwobi to prove that Everton signed the right player. Leicester, Lewis Dunk. The Foxes failed to replace Harry Maguire this summer, and they'll be praying they don't regret it. The main name linked with a move to Leicester was Lewis Dunk, but instead he remained at Brighton, taking on the captain's armband in Bruno's absence. Rodgers is instead having to turn to last year's signing Carlos Soyuncu, who looks promising initially but doesn't have the same experience as Dunk. Liverpool, Nicolas Pepe. All summer Pepe was linked with the move to Anfield by the French press, but instead it was Arsenal who he joined. While they needed Pepe more, the Ivorian would have been brilliant for Jurgen Klopp, who doesn't really have a lot of backup if any of his front 3 get injured. Alisson's injury has already rocked Liverpool, and if they can't turn to Mane, Salah and Firmino, Klopp may regret not signing Pepe ahead of Arsenal. Manchester City, Harry Maguire. Manchester United made him the most expensive defender in the world this summer, but if things had gone differently, he could have signed for the champions. Man City were linked with a move for Maguire, but eventually gave up their pursuit, clearing the way for Manchester United to swoop in and send £80 million to Leicester. City lost company this summer, and Maguire is a player who could have stepped into his position. Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes. In an interesting summer at Old Trafford, the Red Devils probably didn't do quite enough business. And one player they should have signed is Bruno Fernandes from Sporting. The Portuguese midfielder would have added goals from midfield for Manchester United, something they really seem to be missing. With Pogba in a deeper role, Fernandes would slot into that side seamlessly. Newcastle United, Djibril Sidibe. Newcastle lack quality on the right side of defence, which is hard to watch considering they were reportedly after Djibril Sidibe from Monaco. But instead Newcastle signed Emile Crofton-Amion, who looked dross on his debut, while World Cup winner Sidibe headed to Everton on loan, which for him is a much better move, but Newcastle must rue missing out on the signing. Norwich City, Alexis Claude Maurice. Norwich weren't too busy this summer, so finding transfer targets was difficult. But Frenchman Alexis Claude Maurice reportedly turned down the Canaries late in the day, and he could certainly be one that got away. The youngster was wanted by a few Premier League clubs, including Arsenal, and Norwich may regret missing out on a player who seems to be highly rated. Sheffield United, Neal Maupay. The Blades seem determined to spend big money on a striker from the Championship this summer, but maybe they got the wrong one. They brought in Ollie McBurney from Swansea, but should be jealous of Brighton bringing in NEAL MAUPAY, who looks like the much better signing. If MAUPAY ends the season with more goals than McBurney, Sheffield United will know they made a mistake. Southampton, Harry Wilson. The Liverpool youngster was linked with a move to Southampton back in May, and by the end of the transfer window he was on the south coast, but instead he's joined Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and he scored a cracker on his debut against Aston Villa. Southampton would have loved to have added him to their squad, and they're probably a bit annoyed considering all the players Liverpool have took off them in years gone by. Tottenham, Paulo DYBALA. Damn those image rights, they seem to be the only thing stopping Paulo DYBALA coming to the Premier League. And Spurs fans must be good they missed out, as he's a real world class player who could take Spurs to an even higher level. If Spurs fail to muster up a title challenge, they may wonder what would have happened if DYBALA had arrived. Watford, Danny Rose. The England left-back turned up at Watford on deadline day, but he ended up with a Peter Arnon wingy-sized egg on his face as Spurs rejected the bids, meaning Rose had to head back to Tottenham with his tail between his legs, and the Hornets missed out on a top-class left-back. While Rose is still getting minutes at Tottenham, Watford will be gutted to miss out, having been so close to getting a huge deal over the line for one of the country's finest left-backs. West Ham, Maxi Gomez. It seemed for all the world that Maxi Gomez was heading to West Ham this summer, but alas no, the deal fell apart and the striker went to Valencia. West Ham did act quickly and signed Sebastian Haller, but if he doesn't deliver the goods, Pellegrini will be wondering what if. What if Gomez had came instead? Would he have scored more goals? Would he have been West Ham's new talisman in the absence of Marko Arnautovic? And finally Wolves, Frank Kessie. Wolves have signed some big players in recent years, and Frank Kessie would have been another huge arrival. The midfielder has been wanting to watch for a few years now, and could have helped Wolves on their journey up the Premier League table as they aim to break into the top 6. Wolves are missing a midfield player like him, and may wish they'd snapped him up as Europa League games begin to mount up. So that's one target each Premier League club should have signed this summer. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.